Hey guys, how you doing here? Coming to you, answering that question again. How do you raise money? Man, we feel like this is going to be like a 20-part series. I think this is part number 6. In this one, we wanted to talk a little about event-based fundraising. And so this is how we do events at the Dream Center. We have a couple different styles of events that we do. I'll talk about the one that probably most people are familiar with. If you've been around the Dream Center any amount of time, you know about the Night of Dreams. And so the Night of Dreams is an amazing experience. It is an annual dinner, gala, fundraiser, and award ceremony type of thing. Depending on which Dream Center you're at, there's anywhere from 50 to 300 to 500 people at these Night of Dreams. Now for us in Phoenix, our Night of Dreams is not as much a fundraiser. My development team hates it when I say this, but it's true. Ours is not so much a fundraiser as it is a major donor cultivation tool. And so it's a major donor cultivation tool. So imagine this, picture this for a moment. So we have a room with 200 people in it. We have hand chosen these people, and so because there's couples, and singles, there's maybe 120 like giving units. You know, like one family is one unit, but that could be 2 people there. But there's only one kind of unit there. So of those 200 people, let's make it even. Let's make it 100. So of those 100 giving units that are there, about 15 to 20 of them are in a category that we consider to be a major donor. And so a major donor for us is different for everyone, but is 10,000 and up a year. So that could be 1,000 a month. It could be 10,000 all at Christmas time or in Night of Dreams. So 10,000 or more a year, and it's kind of a category of major donor for us. So about 15 to 20 of those 100 giving units in the Night of Dreams for us are major donors. So the rest of them then are people who have given at like the $300 to $1,000 level. And so what we do with our Night of Dreams, we have 6 or 7 different categories. And Night of Dreams is let me walk you through it. So Night of Dreams is set up, and if you're going to do one, you need some help planning it. Come out and see us in Phoenix or out in LA, and we're glad to walk it through. Come to one of our Night of Dreams, and we're glad to walk it through with you. But essentially, it's a dinner that happens on usually a Friday night. Ours now is on a Thursday night because we're doing it as part of a golf tournament. I'm talking about golf in a minute. And so what we do, though, is a really nice dinner. So before the dinner, we've worked with again, some of our major donors who own businesses, and we've raised sponsorship. So we've told them that, hey, we'll put a big 4-foot by 8-foot banner for whoever the $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 sponsor is, and then we've got other ones. So for us, we're needing to do this dinner for 200 or so people. We're needing like $25,000-$30,000 for going into it, just to make sure that the thing is completely net positive, and it always is. In fact, we always spend less than what we have for sponsorships, and the sponsors are okay with that, as long as they get their props at the end. So their name, the sponsor's name, goes in the little program that we print. We do all of this in-house, by the way. Like we don't farm out the manual, the program. We don't farm out the print materials. It's all done in-house by us, by our little committee of like 3 people that plans all this. And so what we do is we go through our database then, and we've invited about 300 giving units, who are giving at like $1,000 or less. That's not, it doesn't have to be 1,000 or less, but that's kind of where we sit, because again, this is a major donor cultivation tool. So we invite those people. Out of those 300 invitations, we'll get about 100 units that'll be there that we know are going to be there. And so the goal with those folks is to help help move them to a new level. And so the bid items, the auction bid items in the program, get our chip, because it's got all of our Night of Dreams programs on there. Just rip that stuff off, like copy it, take it, do whatever you want with it. But our programs have, so imagine you turn to a page, there's a picture of a young lady in our human trafficking program, and then there's a menu style item. So the top item may be $25,000 for behavioral health care. The next one may be $15,000 for medical care. The next one may be $10,000 for education and things like that. And so what we've done is those higher levels, the 25,000, the 50,000, the 100,000 levels, we kind of know going into that's a real sharing, right? We kind of know going into the event that someone's probably going to bid on that. We kind of know probably, right? So I mentioned that we have 10 to 20 major donors there. In the months leading up to Night of Dreams, I'm meeting with them all. I'm having lunch with them. I'm having coffee with them. The first year is the toughest, but once you get through the first year, then it's just a matter of all your major donors. You have 2 months beforehand, you're having this conversation with them. Hey, where are you at? Do you think you want to support Night of Dreams? And here's a sneak peek at the program. Like, where do you think your heart is? I know you did foster care last year, but where do you think your heart is? And so we go into it kind of knowing already that those top players. Now, what that does for us is a couple things. One, it really honors our major donors for them to be able to bid and give in an environment that is beautiful, that is set up like that at a dinner. And some of your donors, they don't want the applause, and they don't want that, but a lot of them want that, or they at least appreciate that. And so that's kind of what we're giving those major donors that night. So the way it is I'll stand up on stage and we just start to bid. We auction off those items, and there's no prizes for it. I mean, we have some prizes for some top bidders, but nobody ever really ends up seeming to care about it because nobody claims the prizes. And so we stand up there and we auction off $25,000 for our human trafficking program. It's going to therapeutic. Do I have a bidder? And literally, you're scanning the room, and like you would think it would be crickets. Like, it's so nerve-wracking the first couple times you do it, but like if you've already talked to some of your major donors, they're like, yep, 25,000, and then man, the crowd just goes wild. If you've got one that's 50,000 or 100,000, like a lot of times, if it's a large gift that happens anywhere near Night of Dreams, I'll be like, hey, can we feature this at Night of Dreams? Like, it's going to get people pumped up to want to give. And so it's kind of what you're doing. You're creating an atmosphere of giving that is very exciting, that is very like, wow, and very like, oh my goodness, that was crazy at that top layer. Then you get down on the bid menu in the same vein, and you're bidding things like $2,000 helps rescue 10 girls out of human trafficking, pays for their plane tickets, pays for their bus tickets, pays for this. And so that's not necessarily something that the major donors want to gravitate toward, right? But like all those other donors that I mentioned, the rest of the room, like they're all looking for, I'm a part of this amazing event. What's something that I can bid on? And so again, these are people who historically they've given at the $1,000 or less mark, and now you're trying to graduate them up to higher levels. And so we have never not had items bid. We usually have 50 or so items, so some are 50,000, some are 25, some are 1,000. We've never not had items bid, and usually many of the lower level items, the $1,000, the $2,500, those items bid numerous times. And it's okay if you bid $2,000 to help rescue 10 girls out of trafficking. Like if we get $4,000, we're just going to rescue 20 out of human trafficking. So it's never like that the whole budget is dependent on that. And I think that's part of the key too, is we know from a budget planning standpoint that one program is not completely dependent on all of this funding. And so that's how we do our Night of Dreams events for the event. Now I will say that some of the other touches for those donors and for all donors, we really try to pride ourselves on having what we call a premium donor experience. And so the major donors all get, I take them to coffee, lunch the next week, the following weeks. I have already done that before they came, right? Remember, because I was talking to them beforehand. And then everybody gets a very personalized, Dear Jim, you bid on the human trafficking program, the foster care program, whatever it is, and it's been 3 months. This is how your money is being used. These are a picture of some of the kiddos that are in the program. And so we really go all out on the reporting to try to have a premium donor experience. And I'll tell you, I've gone to meetings, subsequent meetings with major donors and donors of all levels afterward, and it's so humbling. I mean, they'll come to the lunch or the coffee, and they'll be holding that little program, that was at Night of Dreams, and or they'll be holding that letter that you sent them with that customized report of what their money's doing, and you just know that you've really touched people and helped them. And that's a whole ministry in and of itself, receipting donors and giving them feedback on what their money is doing. That's a whole ministry to itself, because people really do care about you, and just for them to give into the black abyss and never hear from you again is really a tragedy. So minister to your donors. But that's how we do our Night of Dreams. Now, we're going kind of long here. I will say that we also do some traditional style dinner and breakfast fundraisers, where they're a little more your normal style. Night of Dreams is an auction style. It's kind of it's hand-picked people, but we also do events where, we'll put it out on Facebook. It's $50 for a tea party that we're having, a women's high tea, and come as you are, and the $50 pays for basically the room and the food and the different things. And so then we'll have at those kind of your typical auction items, silent auction items. We just did one of these in one of our sites up in northern Arizona, and we tested out an online bidding thing. So it's a very remote location, and so we tested out how's it work to put it out on Facebook and people can bid through this online thing. We did have some bids through that. I think we needed to work on marketing it a little better to our lists, get people really excited about it. But so we do the traditional. We do a breakfast on Fridays once a year. It's a large breakfast. It's so Night of Dreams is a concentrated, just our highest and our best supporters, 200 people. It's not a lot of people. So we do a breakfast though that is kind of open to everybody. Buy a little ticket, and we'll get 800 people at our breakfast, and they'll come in. Breakfast though will do typically a third and financially of what specifically our Night of Dreams will do. And so the breakfasts though are great for new people, like expanding your brand and building your base. The breakfast can be amazing for that. Our breakfast then, it's part of the reason we did breakfast. I'll be very honest with you. As we started to get into new donors and new kind of donor areas of town, or I don't know how to say that, but this whole idea of you have to serve alcohol at your events in order to get certain people to come to them, this became an issue for us. Now, at our site here in Phoenix and our church, we do not do alcohol or drugs. Drugs are bad, but we don't do that at any of our events. Part of it is our religious denominational affiliation, but a lot of it, most of it is honestly, we run one of, if not the largest recovery center in the valley here, and we just have always felt really awkward about, here we're raising money for a sobriety recovery program, and there's alcohol flowing, and nothing wrong with that, but I think for us, we've just decided I'll do a whole nother segment on that, because then the question is, well, how do you if you partner with other places who are doing fundraisers for you, do you do alcohol? We have a whole policy, like it was a whole big deal. But we have different policies. We do some of that. But if it's our event, and so one of the ways I was able to do a workaround with that was, well, people expect alcohol at a dinner, right? So I thought, well, let's do a breakfast. Another part of the thinking was the dinner market here in Phoenix for fundraiser dinners, the Friday, Saturday markets at like all the big hotels and stuff, the places where you do the fundraisers, that market is what we call totally saturated. And so we were trying to get new bases of donors, and here we're doing it on the same days that like bigger ministries or bigger agencies are doing their fundraisers. Didn't work out good. So Friday morning breakfasts have been very good for us. Our breakfast start at 7, which you would think nobody would show up, right? But like we packed the place with 700-800 people. 800 is about the most we've ever had. But I think they're young professionals. They're coming in before their work. We are done by 8:30. So they can go on to work. We make sure it's kind of centrally located here in Phoenix. So breakfasts have been great for us. There are offering envelopes on the table. People can buy the flowers. Like I said, there are silent silent auction items that you can get as well. But then we are up on stage, and we do start with a $100,000 offering. Now sometimes, same as with Night of Dreams, we kind of know who the bigger ones are, but we get down into, and it's quick. I mean, it's $100,000. Oh, okay, Phoenix Children's Hospital is giving Foundation giving $100,000, and they're giving $50,000 and $25,000, and on down the road. And by the end, with a group that size, you're hoping that $1,000 ask mark and the $500 one. I mean, you're hoping that almost every hand is raised for that, and people are getting excited. You know, you kind of the momentum kind of builds for that. Then you ask them to fulfill their pledge that night or that morning or through credit card that you have, envelopes that you have on the table. One more type of fundraising. I know I'm going really long here, but golfing events is another type of fundraiser that we do, and there are essentially 2 or 3 styles of golfing events that we do. Golfing events have been very good for us the last couple of years. Well, some of them have. So the first style is the one everybody thinks about. It's the one that we do. So we put on Phoenix Dream Center golf event at Grand Canyon University, and so in that we partner with a sponsor. Of course, we have sponsorships and whole sponsors, and we raise the silent auction gift. So it's a big silent auction thing. We try to get 140 some golfers at the event, and so some of the fundraising comes from that. But a lot of the money really comes from the sponsorships, and so people can be a gold sponsor, silver sponsor, platinum sponsor. It's worked out pretty well for us. The type of golf event, though, that we love, that has been by far the best for us, because golf events are a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of promoting and talking and getting stuff, and then the day of, like, you're running the show, like your people are running the booths and the games and or not the games, but the prizes and everything. The type of golfing events we really like, and I encourage you to get with a clubhouse owner. If you have a golf clubhouse in your city, a golf course in your city, get with someone and just start having these conversations, find these people. But the ones that are by far the best are, well, it goes a little bit something like this. So construction companies, bigger ones, will have, or companies will have an annual sort of an annual golf event. And at this golf event, just like trade shows, they'll invite all of their vendors. And so if I'm a construction company, I'll invite my window guy and my door guy, and I'll invite my lumber guy, and I'll invite my vendors, and they'll want to come and play golf. And it's a schmooze and booze thing. I hate to say that after talking about that we don't do booze, but if it's somebody else's event, again, it's out of our control. And so it's a schmoozy type event. But what you'll find is that many of these companies are very open to having a charity of choice sponsored at their event. And so we'll come along, a construction company, and they'll say, okay, all the proceeds of this event are going to the Phoenix Dream Center. Because honestly, if they're a for-profit business, they're mostly interested in schmoozing their people. That's really what they're interested in. They're not interested in making money off of a golf event, but if you have make it a charity golf event or have it as a charity, they find that that's a good message to their vendors. Oh, hey, yeah, this contractor, yeah, man, they support these people that help human trafficking girls. Like, it's the craziest thing. And so it's something that sticks with them. It's all about branding, right, for them, and sales and positioning. And so we've come alongside a number of golf tourneys, and we're just a charity choice. And literally, what it is we give them some stories. We give them our logo. They're able to call it the Jokaki Golf Tournament benefiting the Phoenix Dream Center, and then the day of the event, we show up, set up a booth, maybe have a couple testimonies, but that's about it. Like, we don't do all the invitations, we don't do all the sign-ups, we're not hammering people to pay their pledges. I mean, it all is through them, and so then they just cut us one check at the end of the event, or they route people to our webpage to make a donation and things. And so we've had some of these be $50,000. The highest one I remember was $80,000. And again, folks, like we did hardly anything. These are some of the best that you can do. And so those are a couple of the styles of events that we do. The last one that I want to talk about, and it will go quickly, is a little breakfast that we do every quarter. It's called Breakfast with Brian. And for people who don't golf, for people who didn't make it to Night of Dreams, who couldn't come to our breakfast, so these are typically folks who are, giving us $25 here and there, and $50 here and there, and $100 here and there. We care, and we have a ministry to those folks as well. And so once a quarter, we will have I have a long drive into work, by the way. That's how I'm making all these videos. Like, one of my sites is a 2-hour commute, the site where we have all the young teenage girls, and the Dream Center site is like a 50-minute commute one way, so it's like an hour and some odd minute commute too. So thankfully I'm able to make all these videos on my commute, right? So seize the time. So these quarterly breakfasts with Brian's, they're just that. They're maybe 40 people, 50 people, and it's on a Saturday morning. People are encouraged to bring their family. We do some volunteer work afterwards. One of the unique things I think about that is at that event, at each table, we have a testimony at each table, and so people get like a real, like raw experience with a person from our program sharing their story. And it's very emotional, very meaningful to people. And at that event, what we're trying to do is get people to commit to a monthly sponsorship. So you may give them 50 here, 20 there. Maybe you do the once a year $400 tax credit gift. But hey, would you consider making that a monthly gift? And our whole thing is we need monthly support. Like, we need and we don't focus on the size of the gift. We focus on the frequency of the gift in those quarterly Breakfast with Brian meetings. And our pitch is, hey, honestly, 60% of all the money we raise is coming from you guys. It's coming from people in this room. And so what we're asking is we've expanded a lot. We are planning to do even more expanding. We're going to talk about that today. And we're not asking you to give a lot more money. We're asking if you could prayerfully consider being consistent in it. So if it's $20 a month, it's $20 a month. But we know, planning-wise, operationally, every month, the $20 is going to come in. And by the way, that's $20 times there's 50 people in this room. Now these are sizable gifts for us. And so our pitch to those intermittent, lower-level donors, we invite them to the quarterly events, and we're trying to graduate them into consistent monthly donors. Our pitch to non-donors and new people are these breakfasts. Our pitch to the corporate community are the golfing events that we do. Our pitch to the major donors and mid-level donors, trying to get them to help them be major donors. Our pitch to them is the Night of Dreams, or our venue for them is the Night of Dreams. So that's how we do a little bit of our fundraising. I am pulling up to our Dream Center site in the West Valley here, where my wife works, and where we have 36 teenage girls who have come out of human trafficking. And we're going to do some great stuff for those kids today, including raising some money, which was the point of this message. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.